Hello, my fellow healers. Today we're looking at new and exciting scribing grimoire released on PTS with update 44 called Binary Beer. This unique skill is already stirring up discussions in the ESO community, especially among support roles like skillers and tanks. While the skill appears exciting on paper, it poses interesting challenges and rewards for both high tier and mid tier groups. Let's look at the skill in more detail. Binary Beer skill requires an unusual commitment. It must be slotted on both bars, taking up 2 valuable skill slots. Once activated, it functions as toggle ability, significantly reducing your resource recovery by 33%. In return, it grants a group either 6% of increase in damage of certain type or 6% damage mitigation depending on the banner type slotted. There are also other options that are useful for PvP, but not so much for endgame organized PvE. One of the most strategic elements of banner beer is that only one banner can be active at a time in any group, forcing players to coordinate who will take on responsibility of providing these buffs. Let's see what kind of combinations we can use here. First of them would be flame damage. Focus increases damage done with damage over time effects by 6%. So in groups who stack Arcanists, for example, this will be very strong because everything that Arcanist does damage with ends up being damage over time ability, except maybe Flail. DKs and Necromancers will benefit from this as well because a lot of their damage also comes from damage over time effects. Next one, Immobilize, not very useful in PvE. Next one, Magic Damage, increase magical damage done by 6%. Not many skills that we use currently in current meta are magical damage, so we will not be using that option. Mitigation reduces damage taken by 6%, pretty strong option. Multi-target increases damage done with area of effect attacks. Again, if we stack in, let's say, Decays, Necromancers, or Arcanists, this will be very strong because majority of their skills are AoE. But if we have Templars with Beam, this will not be as strong in execute because beam is single target, so Templars will benefit from flame damage more than from multi-target. Physical damage increase martial damage done by 6%. Even though we're opting for physical type of weapons, a lot of the classes have mix and match of physical and magical damage, so this will be not as effective as multi-target or flame damage option, for example. Restore resources reduces cost of non-ultimate abilities by 8%, very strong for the resource recoveries, but not so good for endgame PvE because we mostly focus on increasing damage rather than sustaining better. Shock damage increased damage done with direct damage by 6%. Again, in current meta, most of the damage comes from dots, so direct damage abilities are not so prevalent and they are not at the top of the parse when we look at the damage done, so we will not be using that. Among signature scripts, here we have Cavalier Charge, which increases your spell damage, scaling up with your movement speed, which is not so useful in PvE. Class Mastery, depending on the class, might be useful, might be not. For Templar, for example, it's pretty strong. Crusader Defiles reduce effectiveness of snares on you. It's not that useful in PvE as well. Druid Resurgence gives a little bit of recovery for other group members, not you, so it will not help you to alleviate the 33% resource recovery reduction from Banner Beer. Sage Remedy is a very small hut. It's not very effective hut. It's only 1000 of health every 2 seconds, and I'm on a fully geared Rojo healer here, so the hut tooltip is very small here. Thief's Witness reduces cost of sprint. We don't sprint too much in PvE, so we will not be using that. Ramage's Defense gives a shield that is higher tooltip than a hut, but only applies every 3 seconds for 3 seconds. It's still, I think, a better option than Sage Remedy because it's a preventive damage mitigation that passively applies to all team members. And Wayfarer Masteries makes you rest faster, and that helps some unorganized teams to progress certain things. For example, if it's a hard mode and you rest a lot, that could help you to progress that hard mode faster. Now, among the Affix scripts, we have all the usual suspects, but now they concern that we provided for other scribing skills where we could not apply those buffs to all team members in PvE and they would only apply to 6 people was addressed because here it applies to all team members. Here we have options for Minor Berserk, Major Brutality and Sorcery, Minor Courage, Minor Heroism, Minor Intellect and Endurance, Minor Protection, Minor Resolve, and Major Savagery and Prophecy. Unfortunately, majors only apply to you and not team members, and so you cannot replace igneous weapons, for example, with the skill and therefore save on a skill slot on a support. Ultimately, the introduction of Banner Beer brings both excitement and concern for me. It has the potential to provide incredible group-wide buffs, and it finally addresses our concerns about buff skills only working on 6 people and not consistently applying to 12 people, which is nice to see. As a healer main myself, I see the skills as a double-edged sword. In theory, 6% damage done sounds like a dream for challenging endgame content. However, for those of us tasked in keeping everyone alive, sacrificing 2 skill slots is a steep price. Since update 35, we've already been struggling with reduced healing output due to changes aimed at balancing PvP cross healing. This means we're often forced to slot more HUDs on our bars to compensate for it. For example, Equine Vigor in the past was a nice option if you have skill slots. Now, Equine Vigor is a must because if you don't slot it, you feel the lack of HPS and you need it on your bar to be able to keep up. Now, with Banner Beer entering the picture, we may need to further adjust our builds, potentially sacrificing important healing abilities for group buffs. Considering that there are also many new buffs and debuffs to maintain with the introduction of scribing system and some changes to skills and meta, for healers it could lead to significant trade-offs between healing efficiency and group support. While top-tier players will undoubtedly find ways to optimize its usage, mid-tier and more casual players may struggle to justify the sacrifice it requires to run Banner Bearer. As we continue testing and refining builds on PTS, it will be interesting to see how Banner Bearer evolves and how ESO community, particularly healers, adapts to its unique demands. Stay tuned for more updates as we keep experimenting with this new skill, and let's continue the conversation in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on Banner Bearer, and will you be using it in your builds? And as always, if you found this video informative, please like and subscribe, and I wish you best of luck in your Tamriel trial adventures.